Ho ho, holy moly, you're here. And I am the Obscurist Tourist. And since you're here, you clearly know what this video is all about. Only the best holiday movie ever made. Not only is it the best holiday movie ever made, it is right up there in my top 5, maybe even my top 3 all-time favorite movies. And that is A Christmas Story, the 1983 coming-of-age movie starring Peter Billingsley. Now, how did I get here? Well, back in March, which seems like a lifetime ago now, I had a trip planned down to Cleveland, Ohio to visit the actual house used in A Christmas Story. A man bought the house at auction way back in 2005 for $150,000, and he spent a few years renovating it to turn it back into, wait a second, is renovating the right word? What's the opposite of renovating? De-renovating? I don't know. He spent $200,000 and a few years turning the house, the interior of the house that is, back into what it looked like and appeared as in A Christmas Story. And eventually he opened it as a museum. A Christmas Story house museum, of course. Well, the borders are closed. I wasn't able to make it. So it looks like it's going to have to be a 2021 trip or beyond. Who knows when I'll be able to get down there? Well, a friend of mine reminded me that A Christmas Story has a connection to Toronto because a few scenes were actually filmed here. Memorable scenes from the movie. And I thought, whoa, let's do that. Christmas is coming up. Here I am. So shout out to Randy, my good bud Randy, who pointed that little tidbit out. And so, without further ado, let's show you around some of the scenes from A Christmas Story, because that's what I do. So let's go. And this is stop number 1 of my A Christmas Story filming locations tour. And what better place to start than right over there. Right over my left shoulder is the very place that the Parkers went to buy their Christmas tree. And it's also the place where we learned that the old man is very, very shrewd when it comes to looking for a deal. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, he got $2 off the tree and some rope thrown in. Not a bad deal. And if you rewatch that very beginning external shot from the Christmas tree scene, you might notice that I think this is the exact spot that the movie camera was sitting at when it shot it. Pretty cool. And stop number 2 is, look at this. Right where I'm standing is the exact spot that the Parkers' car broke down after picking up their Christmas tree. It is also the first time that Ralphie and his father ever bonded, and it didn't go quite so well.
There you go.
Oh, for one brief moment, I saw all the bolts silhouetted against the lights of the traffic, and then they were gone.
Oh, fudge.
And it was that exact moment that Ralphie said the mother of all dirty words, the F word. Though in the movie, they had him say fudge, which isn't exactly what he said during the takes. In fact, Bob Clark, the director of the movie, made him say the F word over and over and over again in an attempt to get the perfect take. This is it, though. The Cherry Street Drawbridge, right here in Toronto. And right behind me, it might be a bit difficult to recognize now, but back in 1983, during the movie, these fences were all tall wooden planks, and this is the alleyway, the very alleyway that Scott Farkus and his little crony Grover Dill would chase Ralphie and his friends every day after school for various scenes throughout the movie. And here's a weird little factoid about me. I went my entire life thinking it was Scott Farkus, and it was only until I was researching these locations and this film that I realized it's Scott Farkus. Scott Farkus. Who am I? An idiot, apparently. Scott. Come on. And right behind me here in this little field, I can't really get in there because you can see the sign right there, warning, it's protected by closed circuit TV. This is now private property, so I can't get in there, but this is the location of the Farkus affair.
Something had happened. A fuse blew, and I had gone out of my skull.
A lot has changed around this park, but this was it. It was right over in the corner over there is where the abandoned car that Ralphie walked over before he was nailed in the eye by Scott. Or perhaps it was his crony. You never know, because you never see which one actually threw the snowball. I'm not really one to drop names, but I have a friend who's friends with the cousin of the guy that played Scott Farkus, Zach Ward, right here in Toronto. So, yeah. Now, there has been much debate about what year A Christmas Story is actually set in, and those years in question are 1939, 1940, and 1941. For me personally, I have always believed the movie took place in the late 1940s, maybe 1946, 1947. There is no reasoning behind that belief other than just a feel. But if you go back and watch the movie, you can see there is a lot of conflicting evidence supporting one of those 3 years, 1939, 1940, or 1941. After rewatching the movie myself again for the millionth time and really paying attention to the subtleties of evidence being put forth, I have a pretty good theory about what year I actually think it takes place in. But I'll get to that in a sec. In supporting 1941, there is actually a scene in which the old man is sitting in the kitchen and he's musing about an upcoming game between the Bears and the Packers. That's the Chicago Bears and the Green Bay Packers. Now, if we are going to go by that year and the time of year, the years surrounding that anyway, the only time those two teams would have met around then would have been on December 14th, 1941. Now, as far as 1940 goes, a lot of people, and I would say that this is the pervasive theory, is that the movie takes place in 1940, and that is strictly based on Ralphie's Little Orphan Annie decoder pin. And there's a scene where he's in the bathroom and he's decoding the little message, and you can clearly see 1940 written on the pin. Whether that is irrefutable evidence supporting 1940 as being the year it was set in, who knows? And so here is my theory on when I think A Christmas Story actually took place. And once I lay this all out for you, I think you'll agree it's a pretty ironclad theory. And that is, I think the movie actually took place in 1939. Why? Well, there's a few pieces of evidence to support this. Number one is, there are a few scenes throughout the movie in which the family is in their kitchen, and behind the table on the wall is a calendar, and on that calendar, Friday actually falls on December 1st. December 1st falling on a Friday only happened in 1939 in those cluster of years mentioned. My second supporting piece of evidence is The Wizard of Oz. Yes, a movie within a movie. Well, when the Parkers go to the Christmas parade in hopes of seeing Santa, who appears there? Well, the characters from A Wizard of Oz. They're actually participating in the parade. And in the very next scene, the Wicked Witch and her henchmen actually approach Ralphie while he is waiting to meet the big man himself, Santa, to ask for that Red Ryder BB gun. And Ralphie, as he does, he blows them off. Who blows the Wicked Witch off? My point is that these two appearances by the Wizard of Oz characters means that the movie was being promoted at that time that A Christmas Story was taking place. Meaning, A Wizard of Oz was released in August 1939. So it would only make sense that they were promoting it that year if it was taking place in 1939. And not the next year, and certainly not in 1941. So that's what I got for you. So I'm going with 1939, and I'm sticking with it. And right behind me, it might be a little bit difficult to recognize now, but Tivoli, which is now a French restaurant, that played the part of the bowling chop suey palace in one of the last scenes in the movie when the Parkers have to eat Christmas dinner there after the Buckuses, the neighbor's dogs, ate the turkey.
Sing like this. Deck the halls with boughs of holly. Fa la 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 la.
Well, that's it for me. Obscurist Tourist. I am absolutely freezing. It's been a very cold day riding around Toronto. But like me, I'm going to warm up. So I pass that warmth on to you. Stay warm, stay safe, stay beautiful. And until next time.